Methinks. Oh my gosh, I'm so worried that this thing is going to happen. And then when it does happen, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Why do
Right.
we get so worked up? That's the theme of this episode today, the anticipation. Man, that was a great suggestion for talking about it today because we see that theme with a lot of people where they get themselves so worked up, they get so stressed out, and they try to avoid that thing, whatever that thing is, so much because of how they're anticipating it's going to go.
Right.
And we don't need to get ourselves so worked up because it's not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. In fact, you've probably dealt with worse.
Right. Think of all of those times that we have done that to ourselves. Like, I have this thing coming up, or I have this event, or I have this public speaking, or I had a thing yesterday and I was not looking forward to it. And, having some thoughts about how that was going to go and kind of anticipating and kind of playing the chess game. And if this happens, I'll do this. And
Hmm.
that whole thing. And it turned out to be just fine. And it was actually a decent experience. So
Yeah.
I've spent too much emotional and mental energy preparing for something that was just fine. How
Yeah.
much time do we as human beings waste worrying about something that who knows?
When that time is better spent just doing the doggone thing in the first place.
Right,
How many times do we procrastinate?
right,
Mm.
right. And put it off and put it off and thinking, oh, I'll have some grand inspiration on how to manage this, and you know what, you just live it. What are the, I don't know who said it, but 90% of everything, 90% of the thing is just showing up, right?
Yeah.
It's really just 10% preparation and 90% showing up. So um, my mother had an anxiety issue, and she was a world-class warrior, man. Wow, she was bad. Luckily, I didn't inherit that genetically. But she would always say, she told me, if you worry about the worst case scenario, when you worry about something, we always go to worst case scenario. That's just the
Hmm.
human being. When you think of, oh, the worst thing could possibly happen. So if you worry about the worst case scenario, and in the small chance it actually happens, you've lived it twice. Why do you want to live something like that twice?
Screw that.
Yeah.
Right.
I
But
mean,
we
if it
do that.
happens, it happens. Deal with it when it happens. Deal with the outcome when it happens. Now you prep for stuff. I'm not saying you shouldn't prep for things, but don't worry about the event. The event's going to happen. And
Mhm.
then you can worry about the outcome of the event after the outcome. But
Yeah. I have a client and a high school student reach out to me and has a PTSD history and was asking the school for some accommodations. So I've actually only seen this person once. So that's important for the nature of this story. And this goes along with procrastinating or putting things off or making things out to be more than they actually are. Um, by the way, I heard something the other day which I thought was interesting. You know how we say don't make a mountain out of a molehill? I heard that the Russians have a phrase similar to that. Excuse me. And they say don't make an elephant out of a housefly or something like that. I thought that
oh,
was kind of
cool.
interesting. Same thing. But anyway, so I wrote a letter at the request of this client. Like I said, only saw once, did an initial assessment type of thing. But once as therapists, once we sign up to take on a client,
Right.
even if we only see them once, we're there to advocate for them and to be helpful and to serve and whatnot.
Sure.
So irrelevant or regardless of the fact that only saw the person once, I still have this as a client. So anyway, um, I wrote a letter humbly requesting some accommodations based on what the student was wanting. And of course, the school was reaching out to the guidance was reaching out to have a meeting with me to kind of go over this. And of course, my I was anticipating that they wanted much justification as to why I was offering these accommodations or recommendations or requests or whatnot. And so I didn't have necessarily because it was a request from the student. So I mean I felt like I was gonna have to be on to really fully without breaking confidentiality and talking too much about trauma history, express why I felt like these accommodations needed to be. So I kept putting off contacting. Plus, I don't have a whole lot of time anyway, but contacting the specific guidance counselor, and of course the meeting that they set up via Google, whatever. Or Microsoft Teams or whatever it was. Like it was real early in the morning and I wasn't gonna be able to make it anyway. So I kept putting it off, and then I was trying to find time in the future, which I don't have. And then so yesterday, I was just like, I had 10 minutes before the next session, and I said, you know what? I need to just do it. I need to take action. I need to contact this person, and I need to state I only have a few moments, but like, let me do the best. And then if we need to set up more time to talk, we can do that, or maybe we can discuss things back and forth via email. I called the guy and he was like, "Yeah, the schools can't make those accommodations for these reasons. So I just wanted to let you know we can't do those, and we have another plan that we think would work out the best for the student. So just letting you know." That was it. I thought it was going to be this whole big thing where I was going to have to,
Right.
go into why, that this accommodation was going to help and because of the trauma and this is how it was going to help and why I was recommending that no, they were just saying, yeah, we can't accommodate that. So like just
Yeah, and you're like, I'm gonna have to say, based on the research of Oxnard in 2016, it's
exactly.
demonstrated
Yeah.
that.
Right. Bell and Stringer,
Yeah.
2018, showed whatever.
I
So,
know. Why we build all this shit up in our head. I don't understand. I think I don't know if it's human nature or preparatory or I don't know, some kind of organizational kind of thing where the more I worry, the better the outcome is going to be, or, something like that. But
yeah.
we just as human beings put ourselves through this um, drama that is so unnecessary.
Yeah. I guarantee if you spend 10 minutes and that's it, thinking about that thing that you need to do
Yeah,
and planning it out, and this is how I'm going to respond and this is how I'm going to react, you're not going to perform better if you spend a week
right,
and 3 hours per day thinking about it than
right.
you are if you only spend the 10 minutes of it. I guarantee that. If you spend 10 minutes really sussing it out and dissecting it and planning it out, maybe writing down exactly what you're going to do exactly the same. You're
Yeah.
going to perform exactly in the same way that you would if you just sit and worry about it for, the next month.
Mm,
So if you are concerned about that thing, sit down, hash it out, focus on it for 10 full minutes, and
right.
then be done with it, and then move on to something else.
And how very true, and how often we are our own worst critics. So remember that too. So when you do perform, you're going to pull out every little detail that you could have done better. Where, your audience went, wow, that was great. And, that they were prepared, they thought about it, they were articulate, they
Yeah.
said what they had to say, and it was great. And of course, we're like, oh, that sucked. I can't believe I did this. And I can't believe I sneezed.
Right.
And, what,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera.
And their perspective is like, oh my God, we're so grateful that we had you. That was so helpful, so insightful. Like, we want to have you back. Like, can you come back next week? And you're
Mhm,
like,
mhm,
I was horrible. I did terrible. I'm criticizing myself, analyzing it. But you know
mhm.
what? Better to just go do the thing
Yeah.
and potentially mess up, analyze it, and figure out what you're going to do differently for the next time. That's
Mhm.
better time spent than not doing it and then going over all the different permutations of how you're going to screw it up.
All right. Absolutely. For
Just get
sure.
into action.
Put it into action. Right.
Yeah. Who taught us this to worry and anticipate? Our parents,
Yeah.
society,
Yeah.
social media?
I
What's the
don't know.
cause of this?
we've always done it, Tom. Worrying is the oldest time waster in the world.
Right, I guess, you watched your parents or grandparents doing it, then you just learn from a young age, you're programmed to, like, I have to worry about this, I have to consider it, I have to look at all the different options and all the potential pitfalls, and then I'll be more prepared, I'll be ready. And when you worry about something and it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be, which is like most often 98% the case,
Right?
you've taught yourself, or that thing that you're worried about didn't actually happen. You've taught yourself that by worrying about it, I was able to prevent the worst from happening, even though logically, rationally, that's not true. You're not
Right.
magical. But then you've taught your brain, I need to worry about it each and every time. In fact, the more that I worry about it, the better the outcome is going to be.
That's a developing OCD response.
Uh-huh. It's incongruent. It's not true.
Right.
That's not how it works. But
Right.
we've taught ourselves this.
Oh yeah. I always said I play the chess game. So, when I had a meeting or a presentation or a meeting or something that could go south that had had important implications, I would always play chess. So I'd be like, oh, I'll say this, and then if this comes up, then I'll do this, and if this comes up, then I'll do this. But then so and so is going to say blah blah blah, so then I'm going to say this, and I would
Hmm.
spend so much time needlessly because these were all things that I had thought about, before. It's what I would have automatically responded with anyway. So,
Hmm.
but I always said I had to prepare like that in order to perform well. And I've always performed well. So I always thought, I always made the connection because I prepared like this, then I had a good outcome. And it was not the
Yeah.
case. Once I gave up all that needless preparation chess game in my head, it was all the same outcome.
Hmm. I thought about this. This is in regards to calling that guidance counselor, what have you. And I'm just using that as an example. You guys can
Mhm.
kind of take that, our dear listeners can extrapolate that and see where it relates to things in your life. But I thought to myself, what if that guidance counselor walked in my front door and I only had 10 minutes and, he or she wanted to talk about the thing, I'd probably do just fine.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so instead of like me agonizing over it and perseverating over it, like just call,
Right.
whatever happens, you're probably going to do just fine.
Right.
Not going to be a big deal. And it was.
What's an interesting phenomena, Tom, is, back in the day, we did all of our social and personal business, professional business by telephone, right? We did a lot of it by phone, some by email, but a lot by phone. You just called, you had meetings, you did those kinds of things. And then as technology developed and we had text capabilities and we had Zoom capabilities and other things, people don't want to talk on the phone anymore. How many memes have you heard? How many people have you talked to that said, listen, I can't, let me be as straight as possible. If it can be put in a text, don't call me. Why don't we want to talk to each other anymore? And it's particularly, we've gotten that way in our generation, but the younger generations, I mean, their phone rings and they're like, what the heck is that? People don't, I don't talk on the phone.
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
send all your calls to voicemail or yeah?
oh yeah. If I don't know the number, it goes to voicemail. But if I
Yeah.
know you and I got time, I'll pick it up
Yeah.
if it's in my context. But um, and we've worked with, that younger generation, that whole 18 to 26. When you say, hey, go order a pizza, they're like, okay, I'll go online and do it. I'm like, just call the store and order a pizza. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't want to do that?
I got to talk to somebody.
Somebody I don't know
Yeah.
who's going to ask me questions?
Uh-huh.
Like, what would you like on that, sir?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh, so many options. I need
Right.
to see a list so I can check the boxes.
Right.
Hmm.
So, have you noticed that too? I mean, you talk to people that just well, are not phone people,
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'll call people because I don't mind talking on the phone. I
right?
like talking on the phone. I'm used to talking on the phone,
Right.
So I'll call people and they won't answer. I'll leave a message, and as I'm leaving the message, I get a text message from them.
Yeah.
A long text message, you know.
Right. It took them longer to write the text message than
Yeah,
and I have two sons, 24, almost 25, and 21. And they'll text me. We text back and forth. And then sometimes I'm like, just call me. It would take 5 minutes if you
yeah,
just call me as opposed to texting back and forth for an hour.
yeah.
Just call me or I'll
Because
call.
I can't really like type text that fast to really,
Right.
and it doesn't capture exactly what I want to express. So like
Right.
just 5 minute phone call. We'll get everything handled. It's fine.
Exactly. Go back and forth real quick. And then how many times are you texting and you're answering a question, but then another question comes in and then all your answers are out of order and it's
Yeah, yeah.
really just call me.
And then I get in the habit of like in their text, there's like three questions. And in my text, I start answering the last question first. And
Right.
then it gets discombobulated because that's the first thing that's on my mind. So I start
Mhm.
answering that one. Then I go back through and then I'm trying to make sure that it's like, I don't know, they can understand what
Right.
what it is. But
Am I a jerk? You want to go to lunch on Saturday? Yes.
yes, yeah. Yeah.
Yes to what?
Yeah, yeah. Or how many times have you like asked a question or asked like three questions, which I try to keep it to just one, but
Right.
you ask three questions and then you only get a response for the one, similar to what you stated, but you're like, well, what about the other question?
Uh-huh. That's why you keep one question per text because if you put the two in, you don't know. And it gives people an out. Right? If they really don't have an opinion or don't wanna answer the first question.
Mhm.
Am I
I
a
will.
jerk? Do you wanna go to lunch?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, so I am a jerk and you don't want to go to lunch, or you do want to
Right,
go to lunch, but I'm not a jerk. Why would you want to go to lunch with a jerk?
right. And then the brain starts to go, bum, ba, bum, ba, ba.
Yeah, wasted time and energy.
Wasted time and energy.
Yeah. Oh, the texting
And
culture.
we've talked about this before, but the other thing that really came up this week is, I talked to a lot of people that, are just, not, well, when I talk to them, they're obviously not doing well, but they're having a hard time. And when I talk about their social supports, um, friends, family, that kind of thing, so many people talk about how their circles have diminished over the last
Yeah.
whatever amount of years. And COVID did a number on us, right? We all got locked down for a couple of years. I love that whole 2 weeks to stop the spread. 2 weeks, yeah, so not 2 weeks, but a couple years. But when COVID, was over, a lot of people didn't return back to the office. So the whole relationship with coworkers, going out for a drink afterwards or lunch on a Saturday or something, that's diminished. We got really comfortable isolating in our houses, not leaving, not having interactions with other people. And we know that one of the one of the best things we can do for good mental health is having good social supports, having people that we can talk to that distract us from our problems, and having people that we can talk to about our problems. There's
Yeah.
two kinds of friends that we have, or friends or social support, and those circles have diminished for most people over time.
Yeah.
And then when they're having a hard time, they don't have anybody to reach out to. So that's why they're reaching out to Tom and I at an exponential rate.
Right. Because Facebook doesn't cut it.
No, no.
Social media doesn't cut it. It's not those real deep connections that you have with other people. It's not giving you what you need.
Yeah, for sure.
People have been isolating. I have been isolating a little bit more. We talked about this right before we started this, and what an interesting phenomenon because of how polarizing things are, because of politics, because of um, lack of consideration we see out there with, other people like thinking about their community and the people around them that's more focused on what I need and what I need to do. Like I need to get in front of you to catch the light. I don't care if you're gonna get stopped by the light. I need to get to where I'm going because I need to get my Dunkin' Donuts, you
All right.
know. So we have been isolating more and finding the need to do that. And of course, COVID did not help. with that. It's building like this state of our society where we don't want to interact with other people because of the negative consequences that we've been experiencing in dealing with people. And I don't like that what's happening because I feel like it takes a village. I feel like us working together is how we thrive.
Right.
And that is disintegrating.
Well, and it used to be, it used to be kind of two kinds of people. It used to be people that were very community minded, right? So we really invested in other people and, that kind of thing. And then there were people that were just polite, right? I don't really want to get involved, but hey, good luck to you and how you doing and being polite and
Yeah.
those kinds of things. And now I see that there's either people that are polite and kind of want to get involved maybe a little bit, and there are people that are just like, leave me the hell alone. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pretend like you all don't exist. And I don't have any social graces. I don't know how to, not let the door slam on you when I walk into I'm going to cut everybody off in traffic. I mean, people are so anti people.
Yeah.
And we've never seen that before. I've never seen that to this extent before.
Right. And so there are some negative repercussions and consequences of that type of mindset if people are only out for themselves and are not
Right.
being considerate and only seeking to get what they need for them and their families. I mean, that leads to just absolute chaos, anarchy, just like
It's the
every man for
disintegration
himself.
the disintegration of a society. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we all have to rely on each other at some point for something.
Mhm.
And I know people are fiercely independent, but at some point you're going to have to reach out.
Yeah. I mean,
Or
we
you
we
should
saw
reach
that
out.
we saw that with the toilet paper,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
damn sake.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll have to get into that. Let's talk about things that are good, that we're saying that we want to encourage, that are going on out there. Silence. Cricket.
um,
It is good that we have a robust, I've been using that word a lot. Maybe I like bust.
eh,
Robust. Sorry. Technology and the ability to find information, to utilize information, to use AI, to make our lives a little bit easier, to make our careers and businesses run smoother, and to connect with other people via Zoom or Teams or chat or, to be able to share information, to share videos that could be helpful, to do podcasts like this. And I like that. I like that we have that ability. I don't like that it's produced a disconnect in some respects. So, but I think maybe we can leverage and harness the ability to be in each other's lives and connect on this way, but just do it in a more positive realm. We've attempted to do this, and it hasn't really taken off in the ways in which we had planned, but maybe it's still early. But creating a thriving online community of people seeking help and support from one another, and to be helpful and to be supportive for other people, especially with regards to mental health, by creating that top sand community. And I think that's a good initiative. And maybe we need to explore some other initiatives to do that, to harness and leverage the power of the fact that we have this information readily at our disposal, and to be able to connect with many different people, not just in our local communities, but people statewide, countrywide, worldwide. And so maybe we need to like try to figure out what other things can we do so that we can be more of a helpful community towards each other, so that we're not isolating, so that we are doing things for each other, because I think that's how we're going to thrive. Right now, we're just surviving day to day. I mean, it's like approaching doomsday, and want to turn that around, because I don't want to live in the society that is in its current state. So I'm thinking, as this therapist, as social workers, like, what do we want to see? And then how can we reverse engineer it and get to that place?
Right. And, something like a top sand would help resolve the issue that we talked about of the isolation stuff. It gives you a community of people like you that, are have a need to connect to other people, have walk their own journeys kind of thing. And it has a ready-made support system when you need it. So when
Mhm.
I'm struggling, I will have people that I could reach out to either for a distraction or just to talk about my problems. Hey,
Yeah,
I'm having an issue with this. Do you have any advice for me? What do you think I should do? Or maybe I
right,
just need to talk about it, kind of stuff.
right. Because right now, as it is, all of social media is geared towards likes and follows and advertising, people
Right.
selling stuff. And that's pretty much what it is. So I mean, you're not interacting in a helpful, deep way. It's just all just some superficial, and I think like I said, it's really been uh, selling you something, or people trying to feel at least good about themselves. But I mean, it's so lacking. So I feel like the community that we have created and that we want to manifest out there is something very different. It's using all of those same connections with videos and chats and having information, shared information, support for one another, but without the marketing piece, without people trying to sell something, without people just looking for likes and follows and to feel better about themselves because they posted a picture of themselves working out or in their swimsuit or something, and they feel better because they got 800 likes on that. Like this is to utilize all those pieces and parts in a more positive way, and so that's why I've loved this whole concept of the top sand community, and then for mental health and for connecting since its inception, since we've been talking about it. And so I want to see that continue to grow and prosper and to help out many people.
Yeah, for sure. But Tom, why would I need a top saying community when I have 200 friends on Facebook?
Are they really your friends?
Right. But you're right. It's a whole different concept. It is harnessing technology and to advance people's connections, right?
Yeah.
And their education connections, whatever, around like-minded kinds of things. It's not all mental health, but it's all about building resiliency and how do I be the best person that I can be? How do I goal set? How do I do a vision board? How do I do mindfulness? What is guided imagery? How do I do that?
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time. Who can I reach out to? Those kinds of things.
Right.
Excuse me.
Because, like, look, you and I just we're two people. I mean, and we only have so much time in the day, and we only have so much energy to be able to connect with people on an individual face-to-face basis. But if we can create a community that is supportive of one another, it scales what we're trying to do individually with the people that we serve, and we can reach collectively, we can reach so many more people. So.
Right. So, pardon me, Tom. Yeah, we've been, working on this for a while, and so I would really love anyone listening that has suggestions. Well, what do you think about that? Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? If you were good to get involved with it, what would you want out of it? Those kinds of things.
Exactly.
Tell us
It's
about
not
it.
about us.
No,
It's about everybody else. And like, so what is it that you really want to see? Because I'm sure whoever's listening to this can agree that even though we spend so much time on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and Shorts and all that, like, is it really, is it really filling you with what you need? It's
right,
just like entertainment. It's just mindless stuff and purchasing and what, like it's not giving you those deep connections with other people. It's not giving you what you need. It's not helping you craft mental, emotional strength, adaptability, and resilience. And so let's have something different.
Right, for sure. Well,
Anyway,
let's see, Tom, if we get some response to that.
yeah. Don't procrastinate. Send us some a message.
Right? The anticipation about sending us an email is worse than actually just sending us an email.
Yeah,
Questions at therapyunzip.com.
that's it. Anything else? Any burning desires?
Uh, it's Friday. All my desires are burnt to a crisp.
Oh man, dude, I hazed myself pretty good. I always say that jokingly, but I did a good workout this morning and yeah, I was eating my bowl of cereal, like arms still a little shaky from the
Good for
workout.
you.
It was really good. So
Good.
I had been having much to um, I'm sure your chagrin, 8 a.m. appointments, just trying to fill the void. And it was kind of, they weren't emergencies or anything, but it was a little bit more of a crisis. And it was sort of like, well, let's do an 8, I don't have anything else. And I missed in the past 2 weeks, like 4 workouts in the morning, and I will not be doing that again. That is something that I desperately need. I mean, I
Yeah.
knew that I needed that. I knew that it was important for me to do that. And I still got a little bit of exercise in the evenings, but like, even though it's not as good with you being there working out
Mm,
together, but still me working out in the morning is absolutely imperative, priceless, and
yeah.
so needed.
Yeah.
And not doing it for just a handful of days, I really felt
Yeah.
uh, I felt bad
Yeah.
physically. Like I felt drained, I felt exhausted, and I felt fat. Like I was like, oh man, I haven't been doing that was the thing. That was the thing that I so needed. So you don't realize how important these things are until you don't have them. So if you're not currently doing that and just exercise and moving your body, go do that and see how you feel after a
Yeah.
month of doing that consistently.
For sure. It doesn't have to be a grand workout. You don't have to run to the gym and work out for 2 hours. Just spend anywhere from 10 to 40 minutes a day doing something, moving your body, going for a walk,
Yeah.
lifting some heavy stuff.
Yeah. And I
Get
know
it
you're feeling it too. You had a big move, big change and whatnot, and then you get out of the routine of it.
right. I'm back on my cardio. I haven't started with the weights back yet, but that I'm planning it out.
Very nice.
I have a cool kettlebell I can play with.
Oh, yeah. Hmm. Best one.
Yeah. All
Anyway,
right,
thank
Tom.
you.
Well, thank you for your time on a Friday.
Thank you as well. A pleasure. And I look forward to next week.
All right.
See you.